What's up, guys? Coming to you today with a full slate of college basketball action here on Friday, March 20th. I'll give you my favorite picks on the side and over-under on each game. We're going to break down every NCAA basketball game today. I'll give you my favorite underdog pick of the day and my massive lock. So as a thank you to me, take that 10th of a second and slam that like button. It really helps get these videos promoted out there on YouTube. It's a huge part of keeping this channel growing and keeping me motivated to grind out one of these videos every single day. Also, check below and see if you are subscribed to the channel. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully this year, that is the goal. That's what we're working towards. So subscribe to the channel. It gets you updated whenever we put out a new video, which is every single day. Definitely worth your time. It's absolutely free. And also do me a big favor and share these videos with any friends or coworkers or family members that you know that are interested in sports or sports betting. Maybe they can get something out of them as well. Also, get down there in the comments. Let me know anything you're looking at about, today's games, any questions you have about, your bracket, which obviously the bracket stuff is already going now, but definitely just anything you want to ask down there in the comments. I can get back to you, or I can reach out to the premium handicappers over there at stumpthespread.com and see what they have to say. It's a pretty cool resource if I do say so myself. Also, make sure you're checking the pinned comment. That is the top comment below the video. That's where you'll find my favorite picks from every single YouTube video. That's where you'll find a link to stumpthespread.com, so you can check out all the great free and premium stuff over there. There's free picks every day. There's the free email newsletter, and of course the actually red hot so far today premium picks. So definitely get in the mix on that. In terms of a recap for what went on Thursday, guys, a pretty rough one so far in terms of pinned comment plays. We did get USF there plus 4.5. A miracle ending in that game for us. We'll definitely take the cover for sure. Louisville grinds out a very impressive win there, so they'll take it, but we will definitely take the win and cover on that one. We got very unlucky on that Siena-Duke game not hitting the under. If you got the slightly better number, you could have gotten a win or at least a push, but Duke sucking so bad in the first half really messed up what should have been an easy win there on the under. Vanderbilt minus 11.5 also did not come through for us. They got off to a tough start, and they did make the big comeback and win. They couldn't quite cover for this there against a McNeese team that did hang around for quite a while in that game. We're on Georgia minus 2.5, and speaking of teams getting off to bad starts, that is what they have done so far, currently down 17 at halftime, but weirder things have happened. Neither team can make 3 in that game, so we'll see if, maybe something turns around there. We are on the Pennsylvania Quakers, getting 25.5 there as our dog of the day. They're halfway through the second half there against Illinois, and they are staying vaguely attached. They're not keeping it super close, so we'll see how serious Illinois is about turning this into a blowout. Our biggest letdown today for sure was Wisconsin there on the money line. The Badgers' lack of defense came back to haunt them. They get out-rebounded in this one. High Point makes 15 threes in the game. Wisconsin only made 9. A pretty wild upset, especially with the way Wisconsin had been playing down the stretch. So not the start we wanted to the NCAA tournament. We're going to look for a bounce back here today. Things are looking much better over there on the premium side, so maybe get in the mix on that. Hopefully none of your brackets are completely destroyed. Let's go ahead and get after it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you get over there to stumpthespread.com. Get in on all the great free and premium stuff they're offering over there, and get on that email newsletter. And now let's go ahead and dive in. Tons of games to cover here today. And first up, we're looking at the number 10 Santa Clara Broncos taking on the number 7 Kentucky Wildcats. Santa Clara had a pretty decent season out there in the WCC. They were one game back of Gonzaga and St. Mary's. They, did okay in the conference tournament, getting bounced there by Gonzaga. They did knock off St. Mary's, so well played there. In terms of non-conference success, they took down McNeese, they took down Xavier, they took down Nevada. So actually very, very good. They could have knocked off St. Louis, but eventually lost the game by 1 point. They also beat Minnesota. So there's a lot that I like here about Santa Clara. Christian Hammond has had a great season. We've liked what we've seen from this team offensively. They're easily in the top 50 in the nation. Their defense is very, very good. Not exactly a dominant level rebounding team, so we'll see if something like that could come back to haunt them in this one. Kentucky had a very mediocre season so far in the SEC, or not so far, in the SEC this year. 10-8 in conference play, only 21-13 overall. They played a little bit better down the stretch, I suppose. They did lose by 8 against Florida there to get knocked out of the conference tournament. They beat Mizzou, they beat LSU, but not exactly a team showing anything dominant down the stretch to me this season. Their non-conference wasn't anything too insane. They lost against North Carolina. They got obliterated there by Gonzaga. So, yeah, I have some questions about this team. Not in the top tier necessarily offensively. 82nd in the nation, not terrible. They're a decent rebounding rebounding team, and maybe that will help them in this one. Their defense is okay. I'm not going to say they're a terrible defensive team, but looking at the numbers here, guys, Kentucky, they're 3.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 160.5. Santa Clara is 17-15-1 against the spread this year, 19-13 to the over. Kentucky, 17-17 against the spread, also 17-17 to the over-under. I don't really think this is a great spot to take the over. I would lean maybe slightly under in this game, but better than that, guys. Give me Santa Clara here, plus 3.5 or on the money line. I think both of those plays are very, very solid. You can pick up a little extra value there on the money line potentially, but I'll take the 3.5 points just to be safe. I think the Broncos are in fantastic shape to potentially just win this game straight up. I think they're actually the better team. Rolling right along here, we got the Akron Zips taking on the number 5 Texas Tech Red Raiders. Now, this is the 12 versus 5 matchup. Akron went 17-1 there in the MAC. They had a very, very good season. Took care of business there in the conference tournament. In their non-conference schedule, they took down Princeton, played maybe not the most competitive game against Purdue. They did lose to Yale, so not exactly killing it there in the non-conference, but played some really, really games over the course of the season. Tavari Johnson, 20 points per game, 5 assists, while shooting 52% from the field. Amani Lyles, very good numbers as well, 15 points per game, 56% from the field. This is a top 10 team in the nation in terms of raw scoring. Their rebounding numbers are very, very good, and their defensive numbers are excellent as well. So there is an awful lot to like here about Akron. We'll see if it's enough down the stretch, but obviously, on paper, this team looks very, very good. Now, they're taking on an opponent that's been very, very good all season long. Texas Tech, 22-10 on the season, 12-6 in conference play out there in the Big 12. Unfortunately for this team, they suffered a major, major injury there with JT Toppin going out for the season. Pretty unfortunate to see a guy like that suffer a knee injury like that. I'm sure he'll be back, maybe not back and better than ever, but we'll see. He's young. Hopefully, everything goes well for him. Christian Anderson's done good stuff for this squad over the course of the year. They've put up very good numbers offensively. Maybe not top tier, definitely not as top tier as Akron, but some good numbers. They're a good defensive team. Their rebounding's okay. They did get pretty much obliterated there by Iowa State. They also lost to BYU and TCU, losing their last 3 games of the season. Not exactly a great look. The Red Raiders are 7.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 156.5. Akron, 17-15 against the spread, 17-14-1 to the under. Texas Tech, 500 against the spread team, 18-14 to the under. I think it's kind of funny that these two teams are actually showing trends towards the under because the odds makers gave them so much respect over the course of the season. I actually think this is a decent game to back over 156.5, but in terms of a side, and I like the side better than I like the total here, give me Akron getting 7.5 points. I think they're also drawing live on the money line in this game. I worry about Texas Tech not being at full strength here. Definitely give me Akron here getting 7.5 points. Rolling right along here, guys, we've got the Long Island Sharks taking on the number 1 Arizona Wildcats in the 16 versus 1 matchup. Now, Long Island, 15-3 out there in the NEC. They had a pretty good year overall. Won their last 5 in a row, so taking care of business there in the regular season and in the conference tournament. Now, the non-conference didn't exactly go great. They got obliterated by Notre Dame. They lost by a ton there, by 40 points against Illinois, so didn't seem like they were really ready to run with the big dogs. However, this team does have some solid pieces. Jamal Fuller's put up good numbers. This is a decent defensive team. The rebounding isn't great. The offensive numbers aren't amazing, and a big part of that is because this team does not really shoot threes. They don't want to shoot threes. When they do, they're not good at it, so I don't blame them, but that's not exactly a recipe for being an elite level offense. So we'll see what they can do here against what looks to me, after watching Duke really struggle in game 1, probably the best team in the nation right now. The Arizona Wildcats, they went 32-2 in the regular season, 16-2 in Big 12 play. They also won the Big 12 Conference Championship. So very, very good stuff from this team. Obviously one of the most loaded squads in all of college basketball. Elite level offensive numbers all season long. They're the 10th highest rebounding team in the nation in terms of just raw rebounding. Their defense is stifling. They've played an extremely tough schedule. They've knocked off the best teams in the nation. It's been very, very impressive to see what Arizona has done this year. They are 30.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 150.5. Long Island, 17-17 against the spread, 20-14 to the under. Arizona, 19-14-1 against the spread. They're a 500 over-under team. First up in this one, I like under 150.5. I don't think we're going to see a crazy amount of offense here because I think Long Island could, they're not going to be able to get into the paint. Literally not going to be able to do it. Arizona's got all the height, all the size, all the athleticism. Like, Long Island's not going to be able to get in the paint unless Arizona just absolutely lets them. That means the Sharks are going to have to shoot threes. That does not go well, so I don't think they're going to have a very good time offensively. I think the under is very live. In terms of a side, since we're taking the under, you would think maybe we want to take Long Island, but I just can't wrap my head around it, guys. I mean, I'm not going to get involved in the side. Like, Arizona's a 30.5-point favorite, so I will take the Wildcats to win and cover this game, but I think the better play is to just take the under and move on to greener pastures. Next on the docket, we got the number 14 Wright State Raiders taking the number 3 Virginia Cavaliers. Wright State has had a very good year, 23-11 on the season, but 15-5 in Horizon play. A couple game cushion there, well played by them. In the non-conference, they lost to Butler, but that was all very much earlier in the season. Didn't face a ton of crazy opponents there in the non-conference, but in conference play, they looked pretty good. A 66-63 win over Detroit Mercy. Doesn't exactly scream like elite, but this team did what they needed to do to win these games, to win their conference tournament, and to win their conference regular season. We've liked what we've seen from this team offensively, easily in the top 90 in the nation. The rebounding numbers maybe not elite. Their defensive numbers, though, are pretty freaking solid. So we'll see what they can do here against the Virginia Cavaliers. They were the 9 seed in the nation, ended up getting a 3 seed here in the NCAA tournament. They did well in the ACC. I do feel like they would have probably finished below North Carolina if North Carolina would have stayed healthy this year, but that is not what happened. So we'll see. They got bounced from the conference. They lost in the ACC championship game there to Duke in a very close game against a very banged up Duke team. So I mean, I guess we can give them a little bit of credit for that. They knocked off Miami, knocked off NC State. So they've been playing relatively well here at the end of the season. In the non-conference, they scored some blowouts, albeit against, but they also lost to Butler. So, I mean, it's a little bit tough to figure that out. DeRidder's put up great numbers for this team all year long. They're an elite level rebounding team. Their defense is very good, and their offense is solid also. But is it solid enough to justify them being 18.5-point favorites? We got a total of 145.5 in this game. Wright State went 19-13 against the spread this year, 17-15 to the under. Virginia went 17-15-2 against the spread, 19-15 to the under themselves. You could maybe talk them into under 145.5 in this game, I guess, but I don't love it. Better than that, guys. Give me Wright State here getting 18.5 points. We're on a lot of underdogs today, but I think it's going to be that kind of day out there. I just think we see this, Wright State team, they're tough. They're going to hang close to Virginia. Will they get the upset win? No, I absolutely don't think so. But could they lose by 14 or 15? I certainly think that's very reasonable. Hey guys, before we break down the rest of this NCAA tournament slate here on a very exciting Friday, we got to shout out the sponsor today in every day's video, and that is stumpthespread.com. Make sure you're clicking the link in the description or the link in the pinned comment to get over there to Stump the Spread and check out all the great stuff over there right now. Obviously, their premium picks, our premium members are currently getting, NBA, NHL, UFC, and college basketball picks. Also, MLB season is right around the corner. It's actually crazy how close opening day of Major League Baseball is. It's nuts. Very excited for that. Pumping out tons of premium content over there right now around the NCAA tournament. But also, NHL, NBA, all the major sports are cooking right now. So it's a great time to become a premium member over there at stumpthespread.com. Also, get over there and check out all the free stuff. There are free picks every single day under the free picks tab. You don't want to miss out on those. There's also the free email newsletter, which has been a fantastic resource. You don't want to miss out on that. Big golf write-ups every single week have been going nuts there in PGA season, but there's also been tons and tons of big stuff there in college basketball. Obviously, the NCAA tournament has been covered in that email newsletter extensively. Tons of great information there on that. Big write-ups coming for MLB here in the next few days as well, and it's just a great resource. All you have to do to be on that email list is go to stumpthespread.com, set up a free account. You're going to get one email every single day straight to your inbox. It's going to be packed with all that great sports betting information. All they're going to ask for is your name and your email address to set up that free account and get on the email list. So definitely make sure you are taking care of that. Also over at stumpthespread.com, you can pick up a Stump the Spread hoodie. Those have been, really cool to be able to, straight up sell those in addition to giving them away, but definitely get in the mix if you're looking to pick up a hoodie. We're selling them at cost, $39.99, and that includes free shipping. You could have it to your house in as little as 6 or 7 days. So definitely, pick up a hoodie if you're interested in picking up a hoodie. In addition, if you're a massive fan of what you're seeing from us here every single solitary day, click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of my videos. They get their name up on screen in every single video, but maybe most importantly, they get access to our members only giveaways. We give away a Stump the Spread hoodie here, not once a week, but twice a week, every Monday and every Thursday. We put the name of every single YouTube channel member on a big wheel. We spin that wheel live on the video, and whoever it lands on gets a Stump the Spread hoodie of their size mailed straight to their address of choice. Love doing those giveaways, guys. Love you YouTube channel members. If you've got ideas for, more perks that I could offer to YouTube channel members, let me know those down there in the comments if you're a YouTube channel member. More than happy to hear any feedback from you guys. Now, let's go ahead and get back after it. Make sure you've slammed that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Definitely get over there to stumpthespread.com. Get in on all that great free stuff in addition to those premium picks. And now, guys, let's get back after it. Next up, we've got a game I'm very excited to break down. We've got the number 15 Tennessee State Tigers take on the number 2 Iowa State Cyclones. Tennessee State comes into this game 23-9 on the season. They went 15-5 there in the OVC and won the OVC tournament in blowout fashion there over Morehead State. This team played really, really well in that game. They shot the ball better than they normally do for sure, but they've shown that they're capable of that over the course of the year. We've seen very, very good stuff just up and down this roster. They are a old and seasoned team. They've got some real veterans out there that aren't going to be probably, I wouldn't think at least, that intimidated by Iowa State, but we'll see what they can put together here. They're a top 90 offensive team. Their rebounding numbers are excellent, and they play some very, very real defense. They did get blown out by Tennessee there in the non-conference, so obviously that was a long, long time ago. We'll see what they can put together. They knocked off UNLV in the non-conference, so that's something positive, but we'll see what the Tigers put together in this one. They're taking on Iowa State, the Cyclones, a 2 seed, well played there by Iowa State, but they have a history, a storied history at this point, of coming up short of expectations in the big dance. So we'll see if they can dodge that in this one. Obviously, this team has been excellent this season. They maybe stumbled a little bit at the end of the year, but losing to Arizona twice and once to Texas Tech, those are not exactly terrible losses. That loss at BYU, that one did not look quite as good and hasn't aged well either. So we'll see what they can put together here. This is a dominant, in classic Cyclones fashion, a dominant defensive team. The offensive numbers are plenty good enough. They do tend to struggle on the boards, which is a little bit off-putting. We'll see, how much that exactly matters, in this specific matchup, but it could be a little bit of a problem. I do think Tennessee State has, some size on the roster, so they could maybe, make Iowa State have to work there on the boards. That all being said, the Cyclones are 24.5 point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 148.5. Tennessee State 18-10-1 against the spread this season, 16-13 to the under. Iowa State 20-13-1 against the spread, 19-15 to the under themselves. Probably not going to get involved in under 148.5 to be completely honest. That seems a little bit sketchy to me, but better than that, guys, I will definitely take Tennessee State, the Tigers, getting those 24.5 points. I think they find a way to make this a competitive game. I don't think they are drawing super live to win on the money line unless you're trying to get rich out there. That'd be a pretty handsome payout. But I do think the Tigers have what it takes to make this a 10 or 15 point game instead of the 25 point game that the odds makers are projecting. Next up, we've got the 13 versus 4 matchup between the Hofstra Pride and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Hofstra, 24-10 on the season, 12-6 out there in the CAA, but they caught fire in the tournament and just in the end of the season in general, winning their last 7 in a row, knocking off Monmouth to find themselves here in the big dance. Cruz Davis has been a monster all year long, 20 points per game, 5 assists, 45% from the field. Very legit stuff there. This team has really, really done its damage on the boards and defensively, which, is definitely a good sign here. Those are, statistics that usually travel well. Their offense, though, I would not put them in the top tier necessarily, and they're in their non-conference. They beat Penn. So, congrats. They beat Pittsburgh. Okay, they beat Syracuse. So, actually some nice big-name wins there for Hofstra in the non-conference. So, you do love to see that if you're a Hofstra Pride alum or fan. And this team has looked pretty good. Now, in terms of the success they'll find against Alabama, we'll see. The Crimson Tide obviously have been surrounded in a lot of craziness. Holloway had over 2 pounds of marijuana. That's a lot of weed there, buddy. So, yeah, sounds like they're not going to have him available in this game, or at least that's the latest what I'm seeing. If you hear anything different, please let me know down in the comments, but I'm under the impression he won't be playing in this game. I don't think that's the end of the world. I think Philon is really the guy you got to worry about here. Alabama, they get after it, 3rd in the nation scoring, 22nd in rebounding. Not a very good defensive team, though. They are a get-out-and-run kind of squad, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, they're going to lose. They played a tough non-conference schedule for sure, playing some very, very good teams, generally blowing out the inferior ones, but, close games against Kennesaw State, maybe there's some room for issues here for the Crimson Tide. They're 11.5 point favorites here. We've got a total of 158.5. Hofstra went 21-11 against the spread this year, 17-15 to the over. Alabama went 13-18 against the spread, 16-14-1 to the over. So maybe overplay is in line for this one potentially. I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it. It's not going to be a pinned comment kind of player or anything like that. In terms of a side, it's a very trendy pick here to take Hofstra with the all the controversy swirling around Alabama. I think the Crimson Tide are going to be just fine in this one. I have liked some of what I've seen from Hofstra, but the Pride are not going to be ready for what is coming at them here. This Crimson Tide team is going to get out and run. I do think either Alabama wins this one by like 20 or they lose. So if you wanted to take a tiny flyer there on Hofstra, maybe not a crazy idea. You can get a pretty handsome price on that, but my play on this one is definitely going to be Alabama here minus 11.5. Next on the docket, we've got the number 9 Utah State Aggies taking on the number 8 Villanova Wildcats. Utah State went 28-6 on the season, 15-5 there in the Mountain West. It's supposed to be a down year for the Mountain West. We'll see. I liked a lot of what I saw from Utah State from the Aggies this season. They beat VCU in the non-conference. That's a win that's looking pretty freaking good. They beat Davidson. That's not that impressive. They did lose to USF, but they played really well this season. MJ Collins has been a monster. We've loved what we've seen from this team in terms of just very dominant stuff defensively. Their offense is around 50th in the nation. Very good numbers there. The rebounding could use a little bit of work, but they played great there to end their season, knocking off New Mexico, UNLV, Nevada, and San Diego State to make their way here into the NCAA tournament. Villanova went 24-8 this season out there in the Big East, 15-5, well and clearly below both UConn and St. John's, but they still find their way into the big dance despite getting bounced out of their conference tournament by Georgetown in a 78-64, kind of a beatdown. Villanova has not been able to keep it very competitive against St. John's or UConn this season in general, so that's been a tough look. They lost to Creighton, not a very good Creighton team this year, so we'll see what they can put together, but I am not very high on the Wildcats. Tyler Perkins leads the team with 14 points per game. They're 286th in the nation raw rebounding, so they shouldn't be able to bully Utah State on the glass. Their defense is also good. Their offense is not great. That's why the Wildcats are actually underdogs in this game. They're getting a 1.5. We've got a total of 147.5 in this game. Utah State went 15-18 against the spread this year, 19-14 to the over. Villanova went 19-13 against the spread, 19-13 to the over as well. So I actually think over 147.5 is a very solid play in this game. I have no problem with that. It's not going to make the pin comment though, because I like the side in this game so much more. Give me Utah State. Give me the Aggies here to get the win and cover. I think they're by far the better team. I could see them winning this one comfortably. We'll see. Weird things happen. It's March Madness for a reason, guys, but I think the Aggies are in fantastic shape in this game. I think they can win it in a blowout, but I'll go ahead and just take them here minus 1.5. Next on the docket, guys, we got the team I can never figure out. We got the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. They're a number 11 seed. They're taking on the number 6 seed Tennessee Volunteers. Miami of Ohio gave it to SMU, winning that game 89-79, although it was closer at some different points than that final total would really lead you to think. Obviously the Redhawks, 32-1 on the season, 31-0 there in the regular season. You've all heard all the stuff. They didn't play anybody in the regular season. Well, they knocked off SMU, so we'll see if they can keep this thing rolling. They're an elite level offensive team, but a lot of that came against terrible opponents, and let's not act like we're seeing a lot of hype. Everybody's acting like, oh, they beat somebody really good beating SMU. Like, I know I was on SMU in that game, but SMU's not that great. So we'll see what the Redhawks can do here against Tennessee. The Volunteers played their way through a very tough SEC schedule this season, obviously. 11-7 in conference play. They scored some big wins, had some tough losses, though, losing to Vanderbilt twice. But they did knock off Vanderbilt once there, so a little bit of revenge. Losing Kentucky, beating Alabama, though, playing a pretty bad game against Florida, but knocking off Louisville, playing a legit game against Illinois, giving Kansas all they could handle at one point, beating Houston early in the year. So this team has played everyone. They're going to have the best player on the floor in this game by far in Jacoby Gillespie. He's been a monster, 18 points, 6 assists. Very good work from him. This is a team that could potentially dominate Miami of Ohio on the boards. This is the 9th highest gross rebounding team in the nation, the Volunteers are. Their defense is also very good. I have a lot of good stuff to say here about Tennessee. That being said, they are 11.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 149.5 in this game. Miami of Ohio went 20-10 against the spread this year and 20-10 to the over. Tennessee went 14-18-1 against the spread, 17-16 to the under. This is a bit of a tough spot, guys. I don't even trust my own lean on this one. My lean is to take Tennessee here to win in a blowout, which feels a little bit crazy because they don't win in that many blowouts, but they've blown out some SEC teams. I don't think Miami of Ohio is quite as good as everybody is now suddenly saying. Give me Tennessee here to get the win and cover. Next on the docket, we've got the 9 versus 8 matchup between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Clemson Tigers. Iowa, 21-12 on the season. They went 10-10 in the Big Ten, so not exactly the best. Although they got off to a very good start, things cooled off at the end of the year. That was a tough loss against Penn State. They played a hell of a game against Michigan, could have won that one. Played a tight game there against Nebraska, beat Maryland, and then lost a 3-point heartbreaker to Ohio State. This team, Bennett Steers, has been a monster all year long. 20 points per game, 4.5 assists, 50% from the field. A lot to like. This team did some very good stuff in the non-conference schedule as well, almost knocking off Iowa State there, beating Maryland, beating Ole Miss, so beating Xavier. So they took care of business. That being said, they rely very heavily on defense without being a great rebounding team. They're a terrible rebounding team, to be honest, but they do have a monster leading score. Their offensive numbers look okay. We'll see what they can do here against the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson, they went 12-6 there in the ACC. We'll see what they can do here down the stretch. They didn't look amazing at the end of the year in the ACC. They had a 4-game losing streak mixed in there. They lost to hobbled North Carolina. Got kind of blown out by a not 100% Duke team. They're around 300th in the nation total rebounding. They are a very good defensive team. That's why we have such a crazy low total in this game. The offensive numbers are not great, and they don't have a monster leading score. The Tigers are getting 2.5 points in this game. We got a total of 128.5. Iowa went 18-15 against the spread, 19-14 to the over. Clemson went 16-16-1 against the spread, 20-13 to the under. This is such a tiny total, guys. I'm actually going to lean a bit towards the over. I just don't. I mean, that would be a very, very low scoring team, and with two teams that are relatively evenly matched, I think we're going to see a decent amount of offense. In terms of a side, give me Iowa here at -2.5. I think they're the slightly more talented team. I think they'll find some ways around and through that Clemson Tigers defense, and I think it's going to be enough for them here to get the job done. Rolling right along with the number 12 Northern Iowa Panthers taking on the number 6 St. John's Red Storm. Northern Iowa went 23-12 in the regular season, only 11-9 in the Missouri Valley, but they went nuts in the conference tournament. They took over Arch Madness. They took down Drake, Evansville, Illinois State, Bradley, and then got the 84-69 blowout win there over UIC to earn themselves the automatic bid. This is not a high-paced team, guys. This is the opposite of a high-paced team. They are, they're 361st in the nation total scoring. Their defense numbers are off the charts good, though. Their rebounding numbers, not very good, but a lot of that is due to their pace of play. In terms of non-conference success, they played a very close game there against Wichita State, played a very close game at St. Mary's, so they played it tough against some good teams. We'll see what they can do against an elite team here as they take on St. John's. The Red Storm went 28-6 on the season. They were the top team in the Big East. They won their last 6 in a row to end the regular season, knocking down off UConn for the second time this year. Very good stuff from the Red Storm. Ejiofor has been great this year. They're 66th in the nation raw scoring, around 50th in the nation rebounding. Their defensive numbers are excellent. In the non-conference, they did a lot of good stuff. Blew out blew up basically all their weaker opponents. They did lose to Auburn. That was a bit of a weird one, but this team has looked really, really good. They are 9.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 131.5. Northern Iowa is 24-14 against the spread this year, 20-14 to the under. St. John's 20-12-1 against the spread, 21-12 to the under. This is a weird one, guys. I'm not going to lie. I really want to take St. John's here to get the win and cover, and I think that's what we're going to end up doing. It just worries me to have a team need to win by double digits in what should be such a slow-paced game, but just the sheer athleticism and size advantages that the Red Storm are going to have all over the place definitely makes me think they should get the blowout win and cover, even if this game happens to be very low scoring. Next up, this is a game I'm very intrigued by. We've got the number 10 UCF Knights taking on the number 7 UCLA Bruins. UCF 21-11 on the season, 9-9 in Big 12 play. They didn't exactly close out the year great either, losing 4 out of their last 5, falling in a 1-point game against Baylor, an overtime game against Oklahoma State, losing in a blowout at West Virginia, beating Cincinnati, and then getting annihilated there by Arizona. This team made it into the tournament, largely based on some big wins they had early in the year, knocking off BYU, knocking off Texas Tech. Not exactly handling things well there against Arizona or Iowa State. Although that game against Arizona was pretty close, they knocked off Kansas earlier in the year. This is a team in the top 80 in the nation in points per game, but their defense isn't elite, and their rebounding is just hovering around top 100 in the nation. Themis Folks has had a very good season. Riley Kugel has put up some good numbers, but I wonder how they will fare here against UCLA. This Bruins team has had a weird season also. They went 13-7 there in the Big Ten. Obviously a bit of a weird fit seeing that team in the Big Ten, but it is what it is. They got bounced from their conference tournament by eventual conference tournament tournament champions Purdue. But down the stretch, they played really well. They knocked off Nebraska, annihilated USC, beat Rutgers pretty handily, and beat Michigan State. So some big wins mixed in. They also knocked off Illinois earlier on. So a lot of good stuff coming from UCLA. And this team, they found all this success despite not being very good on the glass. Around 410th in the nation raw rebounding, but their offensive numbers look okay. Their defense is very, very good. They've got a few very solid, leaders. Donovan Dent is one of the best point guards in the nation. So there's a lot to like here about UCLA. They are 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 152.5. UCF went 15-17 against the spread, 19-13 to the under. UCLA went 17-16-1 against the spread, and were a slight over team, if I'm remembering correctly. So looking at these numbers, guys, I think it's a spot to back UCLA. It feels a little bit sketchy. I'm not going to lie, but everything feels a little bit sketchy in the midst of March Madness. I just think the Bruins are the better team. They've been more, played a lot better down the stretch, a lot more consistent down the stretch, and I think we see that show up in this one. I think they win it by around 8-10. Next on the docket, we've got the number 15 Queen's University Royals taking on the number 2 Purdue Boilermakers. Queen's University 21-13 on the season, 13-5 there in the A-Sun. They did win the games they needed to win to get into the tournament, but it was not always a pretty regular season. In their non-conference, they got blown out by teams like Virginia, Wake Forest, Arkansas, Auburn. Those were not even semi-competitive games. They got annihilated by Villanova. They lost by 6 against Duquesne. Not a team that found success in the non-conference. Their season-long numbers do not look very good. They are an atrocious defensive team. They're not very good on the boards either. They don't have a monster leading scorer. So there's not a whole lot to recommend Queen's University in this one as they take on Purdue, one of the elite teams in the entire nation. The Boilermakers, 27-8 on the year, 13-7 in Big Ten play, had some weird ups and downs in the midst of the season, but closed things out strong with a Big Ten championship there in the conference tournament, taking down Northwestern, Nebraska, UCLA, and number 3 Michigan en route to doing that. So very impressive stuff. Obviously, Braden Smith is one of the best point guards in the nation, maybe the best we've seen from Trey Kaufman-Renn, but there is just a ton of guys on this roster that can beat you any given night. We loved what we saw from Purdue in the non-conference. They got off to a phenomenal start to their year, so there's a lot to like here about Purdue. The problem is they're 25.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 162.5. Queens went 14-18-1 against the spread, 21-12 to the over. Purdue went 15-20 against the spread this year, 18-17 to the over. I'm riding the hot hand in this one. It's an awful lot of points, but I can't imagine us seeing anything amazing here from Queens. Give me the Boilermakers here at minus 25.5. I don't think I don't think they shot their wad there in the conference tournament or anything like that. I think we see Purdue absolutely blow the doors off of Queens in this one. Next up, guys, we've got a 16 versus 1 matchup. We got the Prairie View Panthers taking on the number 1 Florida Gators. Now, Prairie View, they went 19-17 in the regular season, guys. They went 9-9 in SWAC play, but they get the job done in the conference tournament to earn the kind of play-in bid. I mean, impressive stuff for them down the stretch this year. Over the course of the season, maybe didn't look so great, but they did take down Lehigh there, 67-55. So handling business there in the 16 versus 16 game. Your reward is to take on Florida, so we'll see what they can do. Dante Home has been a monster all year long, but this team sucks on the boards and they're not very good defensively. So we'll see what they can do here against Florida, one of the most dominant teams in the nation. They took care of business in the SEC, going 16-2 overall. They got knocked off by Vanderbilt pretty handily in kind of a blowout there in the conference tournament, but overall this season they've been one of the most dominant rebounding and defensive teams in the nation. I don't see how Prairie View is really going to get any rebounds in this game or score hardly any points, but we'll see. Florida are 35.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 155.5. Prairie View went 22-9 against the spread this season, 20-11 to the under. Florida went 17-16 against the spread, 19-13-1 to the under. This is a crazy number, guys, but I think it's justified. I'm not going to get super involved. I will take Florida minus 35.5 on the side. I'm not very interested in that. It's a massive number, but I do think the under is very live in this spot. I don't think we're going to see an insane amount of scoring, obviously, from Prairie View. I think Florida is going to win this one by 45 points, and I could see this not going to see a whole lot of buckets put in there by the Prairie View Panthers. Next up, we're looking at the California Baptist Lancers taking on the number 4 Kansas Jayhawks there in the 13 versus 4 matchup. Now, California, the California Baptists, they come into this game pretty hot, winning their last 6 in a row. They took down a pretty tough opponent there in Utah Valley. That was the top team over the course of the season in the WAC. But yeah, Dominique Daniels Jr., a phenomenal season. This team is great defensively and great on the boards. The offense can very much come and go. I mean, in the non-conference, they didn't play a lot of crazy tough opponents. They faced BYU and lost by 31. They faced Colorado, lost by 8. They beat Oregon State, so well played there. They lost to Utah by 6, so not exactly world beaters here. They're taking on the Kansas Jayhawks, who at 23-10 on the season, had an okay year with a lot of weirdness going on. 12-6 there in Big 12 play. They lost to Houston in kind of a blowout there to get knocked out of the conference tournament, but I don't know. We'll see. This could be an interesting situation. We'll see what goes on here with, Peterson, see what kind of injury situations could arise. This team had a good time in the non-conference. It's just a little bit tough to figure out what they're going to do. And down the stretch, they did lose 3 out of their last 5 games. Their wins were against Kansas State and TCU. They lost to Arizona, Arizona State, and Houston. The Jayhawks are 14.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 138.5. Cal Baptist went 19-14 against the spread, 21-12 to the under. Kansas went 20-13 against the spread, 22-11 to the under. I actually think under might be the best play in this game. Although 138.5 is not a big number, but I still think under is the way we have to lean. In terms of a side, I just don't feel like Cal Baptist is good enough to make this a real game. So give me the Jayhawks here at minus 14.5. I think they probably win it by like 20, but this is not a game where I have a lot of faith, a lot of trust in either side. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we got the 15 versus 2 matchup between the Furman Paladins and the UConn Huskies. Furman went 22-12 on the season out there in the SoCon. Not a great year, but they catch fire, take advantage there in the conference tournament, get the 76-61 win there in the championship game, and now they're in the big dance. They got a 15 seed, and they get to take on UConn. Alex Wilkins has had a great season for the Paladins, 18 points, 5 assists, 46% from the field. This is a decent rebounding team, and they're also not too bad defensively. Their offense can struggle occasionally. In the non-conference, they got blown out by Northern Iowa. They lost to Troy. They lost to Illinois State, so not exactly having a great time in the non-conference. And this is about the scariest non-conference opponent you could face. The Huskies went 29-5 in the regular season, 17-13 in the Big East. This is one of the most dominant defensive teams in the nation. They did get blown out there by St. John's in the conference tournament, but they have been very, very good. In the non-conference, they played mostly super tough opponents, but when they played bad opponents, they really, really obliterated them. We'll see if they can make that happen in this one. They are 20.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 136.5. Furman, 14-17 against the spread, 16-14-1 to the under. UConn went 13-21 against the spread this year, and they're a 500 over-under team. 20.5 is not a crazy amount of points, but I think Furman can figure out a way to make this a real game. How real? I don't know. UConn could win this one in a blowout. Their defense is so good. Maybe we should be talking about the under here. This isn't a game where I'm showing tons of value, but if you're begging me for a spot on it, I'll lean just a tiny bit towards the Paladins and the points. In our NCAA Tournament nightcap, guys, we look at the number 10 Missouri Tigers taking on the number 7 Miami Hurricanes. Mizzou, they went 20-12 on the season, 10-8 in conference play out there in the SEC. They lost their last 3 in a row, but they lost at Oklahoma. Then they lost to number 20 Arkansas by 4 points in a game that could have went either way. Actually, Mizzou, I believe, gave up a big lead in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And also, they lost to Kentucky, 78-72 to end their year. So not a banner season for Mizzou, although they did put up some decent numbers. Mark Mitchell had a monster season, 19 points, 4 assists, 55% from the field. Very good work there. This team does struggle a little bit on the glass, but their offense, no problems there. Their defense can be a little bit hit or miss. I mean, we'll see what they can do in this exact matchup. In the non-conference, I don't believe they played any ACC opponents that I'm seeing. So we'll see what goes on. They're taking on the Miami Hurricanes, who at 25-8 on the season had a pretty good time, earned that 7 seed. A lot of close misses for the Hurricanes this year. They did get blown out there, to end their regular season, in the conference tournament, but they barely lost to Louisville down the stretch. They barely lost to Virginia down the stretch. Like, this team has played some close games against some elite competition. Malik Renault is a monster. He's been very good this season, very efficient, shooting 55% from the field, putting up nearly 20 per game. Shelton Henderson has also been very efficient from the field, 56, 57%. And Trey Donaldson is a very good point guard, 17 points, 6 assists per game. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So, looking at the numbers for this one, the Hurricanes are 2-point favorites. We've got a total of 147.5 in this game. Mizzou, 14-18 against the spread this year, 16-15-1 to the under. Miami, 17-14-1 against the spread, 19-12-1 to the over. So they're a big, big over team, and I actually think over is very reasonable this one. We've got a total of 147.5. That's not a huge number, guys. I think we can see these two teams combine to get over that. In terms of, a side, I'm going to take Miami. I like Mizzou, grew up in Missouri, so still can't do it. I think the Hurricanes are by far the better team. The Tigers are a very middle of the pack team there in the SEC, and I think Miami finds a way to get the job done in this one by at least 3. Guys, that's all the games we have here for today on a very, very busy day of college basketball action. Hit that like button. It really helps me out. Hopefully it brings you good luck on all of your bets. Helps get this channel promoted out there. And subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Bringing in lots of new subscribers recently, so that has been phenomenal. Join the group. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you about all of them or any of them. And if I don't have the answer, I know where to find it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you click the link in the description. Get over there to stumpthespread.com. I think there's going to be 6 or 7 at least premium picks over there for these games here on Friday, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And there's tons of free information for you over there as well. Guys, we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Same time, same place for more sports betting action.